Hello and welcome to this multimodal presentation. My name is Amy Charlesworth and today I'm going to be talking about transformational leadership. First, I want to define leadership. The process of being a leader is not exclusively the responsibility of the person in control. Personal requirements and wills determine leadership, which is the outcome of how groups are arranged to satisfy those diverse demands. The method of leadership involves both adaptability and development, as well as dynamic exchange and value sharing. Leadership is the reciprocal process of mobilizing by persons with certain motives and values various economic, political, and other resources in a context of competition and conflict in order to realize goals independently or mutually held by both leaders and followers. This was a quote by James McGregor Burns on leadership. Marshall Sashkin states in his published book that throughout history, and more specifically in the last century or so, the study of leadership has undergone various significant phases. The earliest methods focus on the traits of outstanding leaders. The traditional perspective, which is supported by well-known contemporary biographers like Robert Caro and by ancient historians like Plutarch. They recognize that a leader's own personality is the primary factor in leadership, with a number of distinct components that typically fall into the two categories of virtues and vices. Now, what is transformational leadership, you may ask yourself? A leader that practices transformational leadership inspires, encourages, and motivates staff members and colleagues to create and bring about transformation that will contribute to the organization's growth and long-term achievements. New methods to leadership emerged in the later part of the 1970s. They all had what was formerly known as charismatic leadership, but is now commonly known as transformational leadership. These methods explored how leaders influence followers' behaviors, both within an organization and even at a national level, with a focus on leadership at senior organizational levels. Establishing a good example at the leadership level by encouraging autonomy for staff members, workplace culture, and ownership at work helps achieve this. Olga Medellin and fellow authors, in their systematic review, say that 4 elements make up transformational leadership. These are intellectual stimulation, inspiring motivation, idolized influence, and individualized consideration. Idolized influence occurs when followers identify with their leaders and aspire to be like them, while leaders think their followers are incredibly capable and driven. Intellectual stimulation is demonstrated by leaders' actions that encourage innovation and creativity in their followers by challenging presumptions, rephrasing issues, and approaching long-standing issues with fresh perspectives. Inspirational motivation is the process by which leaders inspire and motivate their followers by offering them challenging and meaningful work. Idolized influence occurs when followers want to imitate their leaders and connect with them. Finally, individual consideration entails that leaders attend to the requirements of each follower and serve as mentors by offering educational opportunities in a nurturing environment. Enhancing teacher welfare in schools can be achieved through the use of transformational leadership. Other elements, like motivation and performance, were found to benefit from the well-being of teachers. The findings of Olga Medellin and fellow authors were nevertheless helpful in understanding the global patterns of transformative leadership and teacher well-being. Mohammed Al-Zaraqi and fellow authors have developed a study on the idea that teachers' dedication is crucial to education, and it's particularly crucial in impoverished nations like Yemen. Teachers in Yemen frequently deal with challenging circumstances and little resources, and their dedication to their pupils and their profession can play a critical role in establishing a productive learning environment. The main goal of Al-Zaraki's article is to investigate the connection between transformative leadership and the dedication and performance of Yemen public school teachers. An important finding in the research is the adversary function of teachers' commitment to the transformational leadership teacher performance link. This suggests that in order to improve performance in Yemen schools, transformational leadership methods and commitment must be combined. Mazduki Ahmed and Henny Rochman conducted research, and the purpose of their study was to ascertain how integrity and transformative leadership affected a company's success. Ahmed and Rochima explained that transformational leadership is one of the elements that contribute to a lecturer's ability to teach effectively, and the ability to influence others is what it means to be a leader. They claim that school leadership is essential for improving learning results because it increases the motivation and abilities of lecturers and improves the school climate. Ahmed and Rochima's study discovered that integrity and transformative leadership directly and favourably affect the efficacy of instruction. Integrity is positively and directly impacted by transformational leadership. It was also found that lecturers' self-integrity can be improved by better implementing transformational leadership. Suzanne Carrington and other authors conducted a study that presents the results of interviews with 18 teachers and 4 school administrators who hold a variety of positions in Australian schools regarding their experiences with professional development aimed at implementing inclusive education. Although the majority of the instructors they followed lacked official leadership positions or titles, their experience summaries demonstrated teacher leadership in action. Drawing from the transformative leadership theory, their study attempts to determine how narratives of professional learning experiences in leading and promoting inclusive education demonstrate the principles of transformative leadership. Carrington and fellow authors' results show that transformative leadership theory offered a thorough framework for explaining most of the study's findings, and that leading transformative change for inclusive education required taking relatedness into account as an extra foundation for a positive shift in the way teachers teach. Now, of course, with anything of this standard, transformation leadership comes with strengths and limitations. Throughout the talked about case studies before, I could gather these pros and cons of transformational leadership. So some of these strengths/pros that I found were enhanced engagement and motivation of employees, enhanced performance of the organisation, increased originality and creativity, stronger employee development, and an enhanced interaction and cooperation. On the other hand, some limitations or cons of transformative leadership I found were that it could cause possible burnout, a risk of over-reliance on the leader, making decisions more slowly, a misuse possibility, and it's not appropriate in every situation that you are going to be in. Following these strengths and limitations, very similarly, there are potential barriers and enablers of transformational leadership. Despite its strength, transformational leadership encounters both enablers and barriers while being used. Change, confusion, poor communication, and a shortage of resources are some of the barriers. While solid leadership backing, a clear vision, a positive corporate culture, and employee involvement are all enablers. Rosemary Fossart and Sophia Lahana conducted research that highlighted those enablers and barriers within a nursing environment and expressed how a transformational leader can impact situations in the profession. Transformational leadership stuck out to me as I hadn't heard of it before, but now that I have researched and learnt about it, I can think of so many times and people that would fall under the umbrella of a transformational leader. I think I could take all of this information and apply it to my future teaching methods to benefit not only myself but others around me, whether that be my students or colleagues. I believe it will benefit me because I love working in a team but also having clear-cut instructions and goals that need to be met in anything I do. I also believe that I hold the qualities of being easily approachable, empathetic, and emotionally stable, which all relate to the qualities of a transformational leader. Thank you so much for listening to this multimodal presentation on transformative leadership. I hope you could take away something new.